Welcome to Agent Marketing Academy. My name is Dave Marzinke with Movement Mortgage. We run a branch for Movement here in South Orange County in Mission Viejo, but we are a nationwide lender all across the country. And my team, we help people out in Arizona, California, Nevada, Texas, and Florida, and Louisiana. So if you have anybody that can use our services, definitely keep that in mind. But today's all about Agent Marketing Academy and personal branding for real estate agents. And so if you haven't been to one of these before, these classes are designed to just bring some information to you to help you market and grow your real estate business. And our national sales team, our national coaching team here at Movement puts these together, and we have great responses for these, and hopefully it can bring some valuable information to you so that you can use that to grow your business. All right, so my number one goal here is just to share some of these ideas and tips, make this as interactive as possible. So if you have questions, you have comments, either use the chat window or the Q&A tab. We're going to be monitoring that, and we'll go through those as they come up, and we'll get started. So, all right. So today, personal branding for real estate. We're going to be going the 3 steps of personal branding. Take a look at some branding makeovers. Talk about storytelling with content and how that helps you build your brand, and then how to get more online reviews. So that's what we'll be covering today. So what is personal branding? Personal branding is the practice of marketing yourself and your career as a brand, right? So marketing who you are as a person, who you are as a real estate agent, and who you are as somebody that helps out individuals in your community. So when we're talking about branding, we also talk a lot about logos, right? That's the popular belief of what branding is. But branding is a lot more than just a logo. And branding is storytelling, not only about yourself and your company, but the customers and the value that the customers and the value that they get when they're engaging with you and your product and service. So the most powerful brand stories are the ones where the customers are the stars. So we need to think of our company and ourselves as a supporting character in the story of who our customers are and what their experiences are, and go forward with that in mind. So what's the brand perception of you in your local market? Do you even know? So today you'll learn how to take control of that brand. Today, you're going to learn how to take control of getting that set up and the perception and crafting the perception in your local marketplace and where you do business. So let's start with the 3 basic steps to getting control of your personal brand. First off, we need to unpack the 3 basic elements of developing your brand. We have to choose a target market. We have to create a professional image, right? Because perception is reality. And then we want to share relevant content to our target market. So we're going to go deeper dive on each one of these, but before we get too far into this, I'd love to hear back from you guys if you have target markets that you've put together already, and just put that in the chat window if you have a specific target market that you've identified that you're going after. So many of us believe that our audience or our target is everybody, right? Anybody that's willing or able to buy or sell real estate. And so this isn't always the case. So sometimes we have a friend of a friend who may know somebody and refer you somebody, and that's great. But if you're serious about social media, if you're serious about building your brand, you want to develop a niche or a target market that you can identify with, that speaks to you as a person and that you can develop authentic content for. So who is your target audience, right? So think about your client base and past clients that you served over the years. Are they local? Do they come from a certain segment of an industry, or do they come from a certain group or hobby that you participate in, or charity that you participate in? So just go back and take a look at that and kind of do an assessment of where your personal or your past customers have come from. And then think about where you want to expand, right? Where do you want to expand into? What geographic regions do you want to expand into? What kind of niche or segment of the population you want to expand with? So that's something that you want to develop your marketing around and your branding around. So to create your profile on social media avenues is the best way to engage with your target audience, creating that content. You want to create useful content that will keep them coming back and keep them engaging and looking for more information from you. So you want to be seen as somebody that's there to answer questions. You want to be seen as the local expert and somebody who has the product knowledge that speaks directly to those people that are inside of your target market. So does this make sense to everybody? So Anna put in luxury. That's great. That's definitely a great target market. If anybody else has anything, one of the target markets that I specialize in is self-employed individuals. So there's a lot of products that are out there that help out with self-employed people that don't fit into the traditional lending box. And that's a great segment to go after and deal with. And we develop those relationships and we develop that information to answer questions that self-employed people have. So here's some examples of target markets. You could have first-time home buyers. And when people hear first-time home buyers, they're like, oh man, people that don't have any money for down payments or cash or need the down payment assistance. But that's not really the case. It's just people that are buying their home for the first time. And I love working with first-time home buyers. So a lot of the clients that we get are first-time home buyers. They're either getting assistance from their parents or they have saved up money for this. And so you'd be surprised at the down payments that a lot of these first-time buyers are able to come up with. And so they're great buyers and definitely looking at opportunities in some of those larger price points. We have a couple that's buying here in Ladera that's getting ready to close next week. First-time home buyers moving down from San Jose. They work in the tech industry and they're ready to, they can work remote. And because of COVID, they want to get out of the Bay Area and, they get a lot more value for their money down here in Orange County. And so first-time home buyers buying at 1.3 million. So they're all over the marketplace. So that's something that you can look at. Relocation clients, if you want to get tied in with, relocation company, kind of hurts with California because everybody's moving out, right? But that's something that you want to take a look at. Or veterans might be a target market that you want to work with. So these are just some ideas that hopefully will spur you on to thinking about who you want to work with. And then there's some other target market ideas like property location, property type. So like Anna mentioned, luxury, that's a property type. And so definitely build your branding around that. Or a specific neighborhood, right? Significant, farm area that you want to work with or community that you want to work in. So here's an example of a brand whose target market is country estates and horse properties. So you can see from their logo, their tagline, everything talks about selling country lifestyles, right? They're not just trying to market themselves to everybody. They have a specific niche group of people that they are marketing themselves to, and in their area that works for them, and there's enough opportunity to build a good practice, a good real estate practice around that. So that's one example. Another example of target marketing is a real estate brokerage who are all veterans or family members of veterans, and they speak directly to the military life, and they understand what the unique circumstances are regarding real estate and being in the military and moving all the time, and then having spouse and kids in one area and the other spouse serving in a different area. So one thing you have to know is all the intricacies of what your target audience goes through. And so this is an example of that. And then another target market would be somebody that works with first responders, police, fire, EMT. So this is an agent by the name of Chris Spivey. So he's out of North Carolina, and he's a former EMT who's integrated his story into the personal real estate brand. He's created the first responder only program, and his target market is first responders, EMT, police officers, firefighters. And he has a deep understanding of this market, and he has a passion to help those people out. So the first responder community raises money for their causes. It supports local charities and gives content to help out those people and speaks directly to those people that fit that target market. So hopefully that makes sense to you, but these are just some of the ideas that target market branding can work for you. All right, next you want to develop a professional image, right? So we want to definitely want to make sure that we have marketing set up or branding set up that speaks to who we are and also the brand that we're trying to portray, right? Because like we said before, perception is reality. So people make assessments very quickly, first impressions very quickly. And unfortunately, whether that's good or bad, that's the reality of it, right? And so wanted to show you a couple of things of the branding hall of shame before we get into some makeovers that show you how to change the professional image that you're working with, right? So Chris Clark here takes out a huge billboard and look what it says. So Chris is proposing that a couple not get divorced, but rather just buy a bigger house from him, and both spouses can live in that house together, right? So interesting branding technique. Another one, Dave Foreman here. So notice the humor that he's attempting, right? #1 sales rep in the region, according to his mother, and his mother's the only one surveyed. And then we have this guy. So, not a bad picture, but you get what, the sense of what he's trying to portray. Definitely detail oriented. Right. And then we also have Bill Wetzel, the price fighter. So these are just some examples of what not to do, but here's some great makeovers, some branding makeovers that might give you some inspiration of what you want to do for your branding. So the first thing that we have here is the card in the lower left. So Carolyn's card in the lower left was what she was working with, and then in the upper right here is the makeover, right? So the professional photo, the logo, her slogan, a legacy of service. So obviously a big makeover and gives you a different perception of who she is. All right, so another one, we have Manny, and in the lower left is basically his company issued card. 0 personalization other than basically your phone number. That's it. And then we have the makeover here, where we have helping buyer and seller since 1989 that builds credibility. And the picture is very warm and professional and approachable. So big makeover, right? Or we can just go back to this guy as our agent. And then our last but not least here, we have Becky, who in the lower left had this card that she was working with in this picture. And then now we've got a nice logo. It's stylized, has her logo there. You're one step closer to your house. And she's #1 agent, or in the top 1% of agents in Kansas City. So again, it adds credibility, gets results, and just portrays the image that she's looking to portray. Oh, we had one more, right? So we have Barry, old-fashioned service and reliability. And so for his specific region where he's at, this speaks to his clients. So great makeover compared to what's going on in the lower left corner there. All right, so you saw some of our creative slogans and the marketing makeovers, but let's talk about having an effective slogan for your business, right? A slogan for real estate agents is definitely something that works really well because it brings something that people can remember and remember you by, right? You may not remember your name, but they might remember your slogan a lot easier. And so one of the examples of that we have here is Douglas Elliman, right? So they're the #1 real estate brokerage in New York City and #4 nationwide. And for years, their slogan was Ask Elliman. Very effective. And they could input that into a number of different types of marketing and branding, advertising campaigns in all different types of media, right? Newspaper, web, everything. So think about how useful that was. And then they've gone through a sort of a remake or makeover, and Elliman has launched a new brand campaign called It's Time for Elliman. And so one that integrates media across all platforms, newspapers, magazines, billboards, everything, social. So basically, this speaks to the couple of ads, using that slogan, It's Time for Elliman. So you can take a look at that. So coming up with a slogan is definitely something that you want to consider. And then here's another example of using an effective slogan was Ebby Halliday. She's a longtime successful broker in Texas. And the slogan here is buy and sell with confidence, right? So tying all that branding right into that slogan. And then our last one here is, we have coffee and keys, right? So basically Nicole tries to meet every single client up front with, over a cup of coffee to talk about what they're doing, and then ends up giving them their keys. So that ties it all nice together. And so part of the sales process, the interesting slogan, coffee to keys. Right, so you're not branding yourself, somebody else is doing it for you, right? So the other part of branding is storytelling. And so what's the definition of storytelling in real estate? It's a marketing strategy that just uses a combination of text, video, social media posts, branding elements, and email to tell an overarching story about the property, the places, the people, the geographic area that you do business in. The stories are very powerful and engaging because they capture the emotion of potential clients, and they're much more willing to respond to authentic stories about the area that they're looking in than the traditional forms of marketing that might just throw up some type of picture or image that doesn't communicate anything very well. So, and if you think about it, every single sale that you have ever done starts with a story, right? Think about your past clients. You can probably think of a lot of different stories of clients that what they've gone through, what their process was like, and the end result of them getting their keys to their house, or they're selling their home and being able to do what they wanted to do with the proceeds. So every single client has a story, and communicating those stories is a great way to brand yourself. So if you think about the buyer-seller journey, buyers start imagining what it would be like to move, right? They want to get closer to the city center, or maybe they want to get into an area that has better schools or a better neighborhood or more amenities, whatever that might be. And then sellers are looking at, maybe they're looking at downsizing, or maybe they're looking at moving into a different geographic region. But every single buyer or seller has a certain story that they're relating to, and communicating that to your target market through storytelling is something that you definitely want to incorporate into your branding. If I'm going too fast, let me know, guys. So just want to make sure that this is making sense for you and you guys are getting it. So we're going to send out the slides to you as well, so you guys can have that. But if you want to ask questions, definitely do that on the chat window or the Q&A. So one of the ways that we tell story and position our brand is through content. If you've heard of the term content marketing, that's what that means, right? So today, sharing relevant content with your target market is the primary way to engage with your target audience. You want to build trust, position yourself as the expert, and that everybody would come to you for the information that they're looking for. So there's 3 things that make up good content strategy. And to make sure that you get the best results, you want to incorporate these 3 things into what you're trying to do. First, educational content, then entertaining content, and then convincing content. And we're going to go through these as well. But you want to provide logic as well as emotion and mix those 2 things together. So when people are considering buying or selling a home, how long on average is that journey before they actually decide to take action and get active and reach out, right? Most people just don't wake up and say, hey, yep, it's time to buy or it's time to sell. They go through a process. They're going through transition, right? So part of our job is to educate people, educate our market, and help them make informed choices along their journey. So here's different types of educational content that might work for you, okay? 1, personal. So obviously, real estate agents and brokers are people too, and people want to know who you are, right? What you're about, what you represent, what you're passionate about. And so if they want to choose you as somebody that's going to represent them, they want to know who you are, and they want to know how you're going to take care of them and how you speak to what they're going through. So sharing your personal story about yourself can help you develop those solid relationships in your target area. So why real estate? Why did you get into real estate? Who you are as an agent, what you've done, where you specialize. What are your passions, your hobbies, your interests? Do you have a special niche that you work? Do you have experience in condos? Do you have experience in helping people with, like Anna's talked about, luxury or whatever that might be. And then do you have a special client specialty? These are just some of the things that you can incorporate into your personal story. Right? So who here has past clients that are happy with your service? Right? I'm sure we all do. So it's a well-known fact that people trust the opinions of others touting you versus you touting yourself. So doing a video or doing something that marketing content that features past clients, sharing why they chose you as their agent and the results that you delivered for them, the experience that they went through working with you, can help establish credibility for your brand. And it creates an emotional connection with other clients that are looking for an agent that they can trust. Right? So talk about your past clients or get your past clients to do a video for you, a testimonial, talking about why they chose you, what you delivered to them as the results, how you help them negotiate, etc. And then testimonials about that, right? And then here, property stories. The home is the central feature. You can use listing stories to take prospective buyers on a tour of the property, showcasing the property's best features with photo, video, and text. And then listing stories serve a dual purpose. One, they help you promote the existing listings, and they can help you win new listings, right? So you want to create a front to back listing story that visually walks potential buyers through a home. And then you can share those highlights that focus on the most valuable features of that home, right? So you want to use high quality photos, good video that can show off the listing, and then put that in media form to put that out on social, email, or your website, and get that to talk about what it's like being in that surrounded neighborhood and buying a home in that area. And even though listings are flying off the shelf right now and homes are closing in record prices and record times, it's still good to take this in because you're going to build this up for your inventory. So when the market turns, and if it's a little bit harder to get listings and all that down the road, you have that library of content built up. So just to recap, you can do home walkthroughs, highlight key features of the home, definitely use high quality photos and video, and feature neighborhood amenities. And then another type of story that you can tell is about the community, right? So everyone, what matters in real estate, location, location, location. So, but by telling a good community story, you invite clients into the life of a home's surroundings, the parks, the local amenities, the schools, the festivals, the community events, everything that's going on in that area. Right? Definitely do something that tells that story about the community that you wanted to work in. All right, so here's an example of some educational content that you can also use. And so this is a form that we do with co-branded with real estate agents. And it's just a buy versus renting comparison. And it gives information on local data, giving typical market rent versus a typical home purchase. And then they can talk about the amount of wealth that you can build just through appreciation and amortization. So it helps buyers make informed decision, provides logic to support the emotional decision, and creates a compelling reason to buy. Another example that you can provide expertise in is the local real estate report card, and just showcases expertise on your part, engages in your target area, and increase your reach as an agent, and it helps you build trust just by providing data to the local community. So just a couple ideas of educational content. All right, so entertaining content for all you people out there that are definitely into entertaining your clients. If that's you, then this probably should be a natural fit. But it's been said that people would rather be entertained than educated. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they say. So the ideal is to educate and entertain at the same time. And that said, much of the reason that people engage in social media is for the entertainment factor. Right? They like the funny memes, the jokes, entertaining videos. So we have an example here of an agent that lives in Minnesota that decided to involve his whole family and have a little fun with wintertime in Minnesota area.
This is
Wonderful. Honey,
yes.
the kids are out of school tomorrow.
Yes. Lot to choose from. Kids, you want steak, hamburgers, hot dogs, or lobster? Was it gonna snow again?
Yeah.
Ah!
And
Y'all want pinto beans or cocoa pebbles? Russian croutons. You're going back to school, right? Well, at least we know it can't get much worse.
All right, so it gives you an idea, just some educational content, but be yourself, make it funny if that's something that you like to do, and then if you're not comfortable doing it, no big deal. That's not necessary as well. All right, so we talked about educational content, entertaining content. Let's not forget about the importance of including some content that positions us as a real estate agent who's authentic, but also who's knowledgeable about the markets and who gets results, right? So convincing content. So what is your visible value? So the questions you need to answer is, why should somebody hire you? Are you modern, tech savvy agent who provides a streamlined paperwork process? Do you use mobile apps, make it easier for me to view properties? Are you a neighborhood expert? Highlight your knowledge of the local market, the sales activity, the pending sales, market forecasts, price trends, whatever helps you stand out that's different from your competition, right? This is an infographic of an agent that wanted to share why they, what John brings to the table. And so he uses content that convinces his clients that he's reputable, has a track record of results, he's knowledgeable, and sharing some of his personal interests. So something that you can do in a video using different images or blog posts, whatever you can use to kind of tailor it to yourself and make it stand out. And here's something that we do for Movement Mortgage. And what we do is our talk about our 671 process. And it's an infographic that helps us stand out, right? We want to start with underwriting upfront in 6 hours when the loan's submitted. We have a 7-day goal to process that loan, and then 1 day in closing, right? So it helps us stand out in creating a 5-star experience for our clients. And then it's another graphic that we use just talking about that process and the proven results for that. And so this is a recent deal that just closed here actually yesterday. So submitted and cleared to close in 11 days for our first-time home buyer who bought her first condo up in Gardena. And then some of the other things we talked about is wanting to get more reviews and how that can help you out. So what do you do to get more reviews? And this is what reviews do for you, is to help you build trust and help convince clients to choose you over other agents, right? And I'm sure we've all seen this statistic before, but a study from Zip Realty's survey of 2,500 home buyers, they asked home buyers, what would convince you to choose an agent that you found online, right? 62% said agent had excellent reviews. 5% said the agent's all about me bio is well written. The agent has impressive credentials, 8%. And then 22%, the agent is active in the community. So again, it's not about you, it's about the customer. So past experience with your past clients, and then how you're involved in the community are the two things that stood out from that. So how do we get more online reviews, and how do we make that happen for ourselves? You have to answer that question, right? Why did you choose me? You want to ask that of past clients, and this will help them kind of communicate and help them write a review for you. What was it about our team, myself, or whatever it might be, that our offer that was most appealing to you? Number two, what is your biggest concern? So do people have fears and uncertainties about buying and selling real estate? Of course they do. So could be getting top dollar, could be finding the dream home, could be finding, a home that fits their budget, whatever that story might be. But address the concerns that people had. And then what was your result with your experience with working with us? And how would you describe that experience? So in your email, you have these 3 questions, and you can, say include a link to your Zillow page or your Facebook page. You probably want to leave out Zillow since they're taking reviews down, but your Facebook page or your Yelp page or your Google My Business page, one of those things where you can help capture reviews and ask them to leave one. Make sense? So the biggest thing to do on reviews as well is, and that I've heard is popular getting more reviews, is actually going out and doing a drawing or a raffle drawing and saying, you send that out to your past database, and then you select somebody to raffle off something. And, you can do that once a quarter or once a year or once every 6 months, that type of thing. So, but using a drawing and sending that out to your past database as well might be something that you want to consider as well. So any questions on any of this information? I know we kind of went through it pretty quickly, but there's, personal branding, all about storytelling and telling the story of who you are, the community that you work in, the type of properties that you work with, and defining that target market audience is something that you want to, bring into your personal brand and put that together. So, all right, so hopefully you got some great information. OCAR is going to be sending out a survey, so keep that in mind when you respond to that. And definitely would appreciate you attending our next one. We have these every 2 weeks. And if you're open to getting together offline, love to talk to you more one-on-one. We can definitely do that as well. So thanks, Cassie. Thanks everybody for coming here.